scores on the board, and maybe not in the manner that 10-minute spell, but there was no sense of panic in that Dublin dressing room. It was very calm, very composed. We need to go back to our processes, which we did in the second half, and eke out the result. Performance-wise, a little bit dippy there, I suppose, in the first half and the second half, but gives us some takeaways for today.
Because there were periods where you went unusually long without scoring, but obviously you answered that when it really counted at the end. Yeah,
like playing one of the best teams in the country in Kerry, so you're going to get those barren patches. But I thought the guys showed great composure, great control during the game. They were very present, very intentful, knew exactly what they wanted to do on the ball, and that decision making that they've demonstrated time and time again really came to the fore there, particularly in the last quarter of the game when Kerry did get a lead at 3 points again, but our boys didn't waver, didn't blink and stuck at it.
And you're talking about fixing the processes that weren't going as they should in the first half. Would you particularly be thinking about the kickouts?
Not at all. Like Kerry have done their work as they have always done. Anytime we play Kerry, it's always a big challenge. But from our part, to get 12, 13 points from play was pleasing. To limit them to 5 or 6 in the second half was pleasing as well. So it's part of the game, but it's only one small part.
And of course, you've had some epic games with Kerry. You've also had some epic recent games with Mayo as well. So that's one to really look forward to.
It is, yeah. We haven't seen them since February. They haven't been on our radar at all, and we need to review this game and take what we can from it. We'll have 2 weeks to prepare. They were obviously here today looking at us. They've got another 2 weeks on us, so it's going to be a big challenge for us. But our boys can look it down when the time comes.
That's brilliant today. Well done, Jim.
Jim Gavin, of course, looking forward to the All-Ireland final, where everybody cared and waited and expected them to be. In actual fact, at the beginning of the year, I suppose, most people thought the Dubs were invincible this year. They just kind of strolled to the final. They are in it. Yeah. But did they show elements today maybe of a cheek here and there, do you think?
Well, I know Joe thinks they're invincible, but they certainly are beatable. There's no doubt about it. I think Jim will be very quietly happy to have got through a really tough encounter today. I think they'll spend a lot of time looking at that last 11 minutes, purely from a mental perspective, what happened collectively during that period. It probably came at a good time for Dublin because they half-time came at the right stage, because they were certainly rattled, and they learned from that, and I think that's the biggest thing that you take, that they can dissect that, and I don't think they'll fall into that trap again. So they're in a good position, Michael. We do know they are a good team, a special team. They have shown great character and composure to get over the line. A different challenge the next day, a different team, more youthful, exuberant team Mayo. Mayo matched them man for man in terms of power and pace last year. I know the two lads. I know the two lads here. I know the two lads totally wrote Mayo off last week. They totally wrote propaganda, but if you go back to last year's All-Ireland semi-finals, Mayo had them on the rack twice. It's very easy to write them off based on their inconsistent performance this year. But it's the final is not going to be the foregone conclusion. It's
a sort of a nightmare scenario for Mayo in a way, because as the game was unfolding and it went 9-4 for Dublin, and Dublin were strolling through it, I suppose the best possible outcome for Mayo would have been Dublin to go ahead and win the game very comfortably, cruising, without being tested. That's a disaster, because Dublin were taken right to the brink, and they've got the bit between their teeth again now. You sort of sent blood at a time, and that's a big period of adversity that's come through there.
I suspect the nightmare scenario from Mayo was losing to Galway down in Castlebar earlier in the summer. They are in the All-Ireland final.
I appreciate that, but I'm just saying from the point of view of where Dublin are now mentally, they'll be in the changing room. We have overcome massive adversity there, because that really came out of the blue. The kick out, it just couldn't have been anticipated how that next 7 minutes would unfold, and they went from 3 up to 5 down in the space of 6 or 7
You're right,
minutes.
Michael, because it was the first time really this year. Forget Donegal, because the game was over and just Dublin dropped the tempo and got a bit casual. That was the first time this year in the championship that Dublin were asked questions, and they answered all the questions. And just talking about Mayo, I remember in 1990, one of the worst All-Ireland semi-finals of all time between Donegal and Mayo. And I'd say Donegal were the worst ever winners of an All-Ireland semi-final. They fell into the All-Ireland finals. And what happened? They won the All-Ireland championship. So Mayo are in the ideal position. Everyone has written them off. Everyone has written, they'll be complete outsiders. But they're the one team. They don't feel a lot of power.
I remember that particular 92 occasion up in the Crows next with Pat, because eventually, Pat, we had to leave you behind us and come down because we were afraid we'd all get a belt as well as yourself.
Well, I remember, I think the same day it was because a Mayo woman hit me with an umbrella outside.
Fair play there. Fair play there. Can we get a prize out here?
I was going to the airport.
She can send us in your name and address. We'll get something out.
Yeah, she hit me with an umbrella. And the second thing was, I remember Ger Canning gave me a lift to the airport, and the only way I could sit in the back of the car was that he said, lie across the back seat and we'll cover you with a coat, which I did and got out just about.
Michael, on that, if you go back to the 2013 final and the two games last year, it'd be madness to write Mayo off.
They know you won't. But I put you this way: there's not really very much evidence to back up what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Not this year.
Not this year. Could there be a 70-minute performance? They're difficult to pluck out of thin air. You need a clear vein of form.
Just Joe Riley to wrap up on this game. One small element, actually very big element to it. Just the way that Dublin, when it was in the betting box, genuinely we all thought we were heading for the replay next week, and then Dublin started to produce these characteristic scores, if you like.
Come at the hour, come at the minute.
It's this thing, you know. If you think at the start of the second half, they're playing against Kerry, who are no mugs, second best team in the country, and the clock is ticking against them, and they know that. They can see that clock ticking against them. They're 5 down, and yet they're going for it. There's no safety net with the Dubs. I mean, he's going to take this on. Watch him coming off the shoulder. Now, obviously, that's the most straightforward score. But it was the Connolly score. You know, it was such a difficult score. Who's going to take that on when you're a point up? You don't want to give possession away. That was Tyrone, and we'll be back to the keeper. Here he goes. He just takes a stride.
That wasn't very great.
Because they're there to play football, and that's why I compare them to the All Blacks or Kilkenny. They express themselves without fear. They trust themselves.
Great players, you're right. They trust themselves. Great players. You can remember we sat in the studio down in Limerick watching Roscommon and Galway. It had a drawn game a minute to go, and Roscommon players had the ball.
Wouldn't go for a shot.
And they wouldn't go for a shot. They ran down the clock.
Yeah.
Long gone out of the championship. That's the difference between champions. That's the difference between champions and what we saw in Roscommon losers.
And that's what we should all be copying. That's why I love the Dubs. That's what coaches should be saying. Instead of spreading this cancer of blanket feeding and children coming back and playing as sweepers, so they play, teach them to play, teach them to trust themselves, to back their instincts, play skill-based football. And you know what? If the boys are enjoying it, then the spectators enjoy it, and then it's a shared journey for all of us. Everybody.
It won't be much good to Mayo if they go out and play the next day.
Well, I tell you what, they sit back and defend the way they've been doing. They'll get murdered. They've got to find balance. And they've got to play with a bit of adventure.
They'll learn a lot from Kerry's approach today, and no doubt about that.
Well, Kerry were wide lucky with what happened before half time. I mean, really, Dublin should have won that by about 10 or 11 points. That period before half time just turned the game on its head out of the blue.
It happened for a reason, John. It happened for a reason.
A bad kick out.
No,
really bad
kick out. It wasn't a bad kick out. That was pre-planned for 10 minutes, and they pushed.
It was a really bad kick out. He kicked it straight on the pressure.
No, the pressure. That was pre-planned. They went after. They knew it was a period of game.
They didn't
do it in the second half. They didn't do it